Welcome to Campus Chat, a look at the people, the opportunities, programs, and happenings at Western Nevada College. Campus Chat is made possible by the Western Nevada College Foundation.
Hello and welcome to Campus Chat. My name is Helaine and this is the show about Western Nevada College, its people, and its programs. And we've got a great program for you today. Our first segment, we're going to be focusing on WNC athletics, and with me is Robin Williamson. Robin is the co-chair of the Athletic Development Committee, and she is also the secretary-treasurer of the WNC Foundation Board and a lifelong member of the foundation.
That's right, whether I want to or not.
She had a friend ask her once, "How long are you on this committee?" And you said,
"As long as it takes."
Yeah, as long as it takes. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So our last month, Steve Lewis, he's the co-chair of the Athletic Development Committee, was on the show, and we talked about the accomplishments of the baseball and softball team, the Wildcats, and how great they're doing. And it's just right around the corner, isn't it, this season?
The season's starting up again, and it is wonderful. And one of the things, the reason I got involved in the athletic development for the college and why is because I wanted our students from Western Nevada to stay in Nevada to compete, because at the time they were going to colleges primarily in California, but to compete and stay here and work here and contribute to the strength and diversity of our communities. So that's why I'm really doing it.
Yeah, and it's really had a huge impact on the college as a whole. I mean, you look at the first time full-time enrollment at the college, it's up 40%. It's created a community pride. I know a lot of people are really excited about Wildcats athletics. I mean, look at the baseball team.
Yes, the baseball team and the softball team. Where there was their first year last year. But the most important thing to me is they had some challenges on the field, but they did really well in the classroom, and that's what we want to see both teams do and what they've done in the past. And we have a strong coach this year. And I think we're going to do a lot better for the women's softball team.
Right, 3.29 GPA. And Coach Whittemore was the only team in the nation to have he was in the top 10 in the country, placed third at the Junior College World Series, and was the only team to be academic All-American, which means they have to have a team GPA of 3.0 and above. So it was huge.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful.
It's great.
But this doesn't come cheap.
Therein is life the rub. It's not funded by the state, and so we have some really exciting news to talk to you about. It's our 7th annual fundraiser, and who are we getting? We're getting
Dustin Pedroian, who's from
Pedroia. Yeah.
Pedroia. I'm not quite sure.
She's in the
I'm
soccer,
a soccer person.
Okay? But I'm really into baseball, but she's into soccer, which we don't have anymore.
But anyway, I'm moving on. But he plays for the Boston Red Sox. He was in 2007 Rookie of the Year, right? And last year he was Most Valuable Player
of the American League.
Of the American League, and he's coming to Reno January 16th at the Peppermill, and he's going to be the guest speaker.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And apparently he's a great storyteller, a phenomenal player. The Boston won the World Series in 2007, and so to get Rookie of the Year that year. He played for Coach Ron McNutt in his Carson Capital team, I think, in 2001. And he's from California. Went to ASU, played for the Sun Devils.
So it's a tremendous honor to have him here. And it's a really great opportunity he's going to meet with some local baseball teams before he speaks. But it's a wonderful opportunity for the community to come out and hear a very talented baseball players speak in a very engaging way and support our local college. And if you hurry before January 1st, your ticket is only $75. After January 1st, the cost of the ticket goes up to $100.
It's a great event, because it's a sit-down prime rib dinner. The Peppermill does a great job. We get a great deal from the Peppermill. We'll have room for 700 tickets. A lot of right now we're looking for silent and live auction items.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much anything, right?
Oh, yeah. Anything you want to buy, give it to us.
Give it to us. We'll create a package out of it. And
yes, but I think the main thing is it's going to be a wonderful evening, a really unique opportunity to see a baseball player that's performing at a high level now and is probably going to be a Hall of Famer in the future, and there'll be an opportunity for interaction and getting autographs, that type of thing. Plus, you're going to support the college.
Right.
And the athletic program, which has done so much for our community in terms of developing this campus, its identity, and getting local athletes off on a good start in terms of their academic careers.
And so it's a Boston Red Sox player, and so if you're a Yankee fan, I say come on, bring it on. I mean, we know that there's a great rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox, so if you're a Yankees fan, come on out and pitch a question to Dustin Pedroia.
That's right, exactly.
And then to get tickets, contact you or
contact Helaine. Yes. It's I mean you can contact me. Probably the easiest way is why don't you give them your telephone number?
And 445-3240. And I think Dave will have my it's probably right there right now.
That's right.
Wouldn't it be cool if it really was right there right now? My finger was like right there, and it will be. Yes, I love Dave. He is so good.
He is very.
So sign up now.
Yes, please. As we said, the tickets are $75 right now. A table of 10 is $750. After January 1st for a table of 10, it's $1,000 because it'll be $100 a ticket. So, Christmas presents, lovely Christmas presents. Also, remember that the major focus is you're supporting the athletic programs at the college, and it's some of it's tax deductible, so there's that incentive also.
Great donation.
And you'll also have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It's exciting.
It is fun.
Okay, thank you. We'll be right back with our next segment of Campus Chat. Welcome back to Campus Chat. My name is Helaine Jesse, and on the last segment we talked about athletics, which is really one of our great extracurricular activities here. But really the heart and soul of the institution has to do with academics, and we're going to be talking about a great research project that one of our faculty members engaged in last summer, and it's really, I think a lot of people don't think that the community college system has such great research or such great faculty members, but we're here to show you differently today. I mean, this college is amazing when it comes to faculty, research, and opportunities for students. Plus, we have some guests with us today, so I'm going to introduce them now. Ann Bollinger is sitting right next to me, and she's the Natural Resource Specialist with Carson City Open Space, which means she works with Juan Guzman. So already, for those of you are thinking, poor Ann has to work with Juan. Gosh, that gal is a saint just for that, right? Coming in every day. And then Mike Sady is our Western Nevada College Professor of Chemistry, and who can help do this research project with Ann. And then, of course, the guy on the far right. Are you on the far right normally? Or just?
I don't know that. No, not normally.
No. Yeah. Stacey Giomi, and everybody knows Stacey. He's the fire chief of the Carson City Fire Department, so welcome.
Thank you.
And we just recruited Stacey to be on the Athletic Development Committee, so thanks.
I need a lot of development, so
yes.
it'll be good for me.
Well, we're going to focus on the Waterfall Fire, which happened 5 years ago, July 14th, 2004. It broke out in Kings Canyon. It destroyed 31 homes, 3 businesses, 32 outbuildings, 51 vehicles, 8,800 acres. I don't think many of us will forget the second night when Carson City was burning, literally. Right, Chief? I mean,
well, it was the first afternoon and the first night, and then the second day. Yeah. Yeah.
That second night was eerie. Yeah. It was just eerie. It
was. Yeah. And it was eerie because it was in our backyard. I think that's right. What was the most alarming to people. I mean, we in the fire service had been to fires before, and fires much like this, but not in our community. And I think that's the biggest thing that was different, certainly for me, was that I'd had that feeling before of us battling an enemy in somebody else's community, but it was so much different when it was in our community from a personal perspective.
Exactly. So give us a little insight into this wildfire. What made it different? Not only from the perspective that it was in our own backyard, but it was a strange animal. This one, wasn't it?
I don't know that it was. I don't know that it was that much different from any other wildland fire that we have in the region. The fires that we have here tend to be one of two kinds. Either they're very fast moving and over in what we call one burning period, or 12 or 18 hours, and those typically happen in the lower climates in the different to the east, or the fires we have along the Sierra front, along the Carson range, tend to last a little bit longer because they get into heavy timber. And this was a fairly typical fire for this kind of fire environment, which I'm sure the other guests will talk about a little bit. But it's a lot hotter. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more fast-moving than people, I think, realize without having been in front of it. And some folks were in front of it. Some citizens of the community decided to stay and defend their home, and some were successful and others were not. But I think they were probably most surprised when I had conversations with them from a layman's perspective of, number one, how hot it was, and number two, how quickly it moved and how fast it destroyed things.
Right. You're exactly right, because the college was evacuated, but four of us chose to stay. It was myself, Dave Rawlings, Brian Crow, and Gary Mason. And we were up at the observatory, and I had a garden hose.
Yeah.
I had a garden hose. And I'm sitting there watering the lawn. And
that works fine until it gets there, right?
It works fine until about 50 yards away, and the flames were 25 to 50 feet high. And I looked at them. I go, I think we should leave. Well, we turned around. We ran down the hill. And then we saw the smoke go over the observatory, and we thought we'd lost it. And then about a half hour later, the observatory, of course, which is very fire. I mean, that it's very well suited to. Has a lot of fires. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It was safe. Anyway, I was shocked. So then we come to what Mike and Ann worked on. They were key researchers in an ongoing study that was sponsored by the Nevada System of Higher Education and the National Science Foundation EPSCoR grant. And EPSCoR is the Office of Experimental Programs to Stimulate Competitive Research. And Mike got an NSF EPSCoR grant. It was a climate change grant, right?
Right.
And tell me a little bit about that and who you worked with and why you chose to do that.
The grant is a 5-year grant that was awarded to Nevada System of Higher Education, all campuses, last year. So it has 4 more years on it. It was $15 million from the federal government, the National Science Foundation, through the EPSCoR program, and about $5.5 million state funds. So the total of the grant was pretty substantial. And the particular application I had was to be a summer fellow working with one of the Desert Research Institute faculty members, Dr. J.R. Known, who's got quite a reputation in climate change studies, in ecosystems. The grant called Climate Change was meant to change the infrastructure, science, education, and outreach on the point of disturbance regimes. And disturbance regimes can be described by what we saw with the Waterfall Fire, essentially landscapes subject to wildfires, in some instances more intense, perhaps because of cheatgrass, which is one of the issues that we may talk about today, or other aspects that make them, because of the climate changes, drier, less precipitation, earlier onset of spring, more intense than they may have been in decades in the past.
Wow. So, Ann, how did you get involved then? I mean, open space, but how did you get involved with this project?
I actually have a few years' history, looking at the vegetation on the college lands. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've actually been running the sheep for fine fuels reduction in the spring. And so because I've been recording the vegetation as well as my own educational background of identifying some of the grasses and 4 of that on the landscape, Mike and I connected and I've been assisting with this project.
So how does you talk about the the vegetation conditions and how it may have been different over previous periods. Is that similar to any other areas in the world, or what did you discover? I mean, what was the main discovery that you got out of this research?
Actually, a couple of different vegetation components that we're seeing out on the landscape is following the fire and the revegetation efforts. Most of the lands behind the college were revegetated after the fire. We have an idea of what was in the seed mix. And what Mike's research has been doing is identifying all the grasses out there. And so not only have we seen the success of what we've seeded, but also some of the native grasses and the seeds that were already in the soil.
So is this going to help prevent future fires, Stacey, from your perspective?
I mean, I think no. The answer is no. The short answer is no. It won't prevent future fires. We live in a fire environment. We live in a fire ecology. And I think that sometimes we forget that a fire burns through, and people make the comment that we can't have a fire there again, and that's really not at all true. And so I think what we can hope to do is alter the fire environment or alter the land, and I'm probably not using the right scientific terms for my esteemed colleagues here, but from my perspective, what we try to do is alter the land so that we can minimize the impact of fire on our built environment. They want to minimize it on the environment itself. So together, hopefully, with the right seed mix, you can accomplish that.
Right, that's great. I'm at a huge disadvantage. I'm a history major, and I flunked my only science course in college. So thank God for these questions that Sandy wrote, because I'd be at a total loss. I'm trying to sound really smart here, but I'm like lost. Actually, you're explaining it very well. It's actually very, very interesting. I think we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll talk for a few more minutes, and then we'll have a wonderful slideshow that Mike has put together. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Campus Chat. I'm sitting here with Ann Bollinger, Mike Sady, and Stacey Giomi, and we're talking about the effects on the ecology of the Waterfall Fire that occurred 5.5 years ago. And Ann, you were kind of alluded to the climate or the vegetation change. And so what has changed in the Great Basin in the past 100 years that scientists have observed that pertains to this area? I mean, what's up?
In the Great Basin, we are seeing climatic changes like are occurring around the world. Perhaps a little less precipitation, an increase in temperatures. And, for example, two of the things that we are seeing here is an earlier onset of spring, which is a big influence of cheatgrass. And also, if we look behind us at the college, you can see where the tree line is increasing in elevation.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty substantial change, isn't it? So, Mike, what an area is burned? How does revegetation occur?
One of the areas that we looked at in our study plots, we identified 8 areas, which each have 3 study plots, burned and unburned lowland shrubs, and the Lakeview Park area for understory of forested areas, burned and unburned. And we pretty much were able to find that in the areas that were drill seeded along the burned lowland areas, that they seemed to rehabilitate quite nicely. Of course, in the unburned shrub areas, we didn't find any of these cheatgrass or erodium, other kinds of, especially the cheatgrass, which has been quite noxious and an igniter of fires at all. And we're really interested in investigating further why that might have been. But in the unrehabilitated areas, the cheatgrass and noxious weeds come in tremendously, much more dense. Even in the areas that have been mechanically treated to lower the fuel, those areas seem to do just fine. And so it seems that the rehabilitation efforts have been to our advantage.
That's great. Stacey, I think it's pretty interesting I think it's great that the fire department takes such an active role in this kind of research. Is that normal for fire department?
I think it's normal in today's environment. I don't think it was normal years ago, but I think we've become, we meaning the fire service, has become a much bigger partner in the prevention side of things and in managing the environment. And I'm glad that we're able to do that. I think it's a service to the citizens in the community and it makes us a part of the solution instead of just there to take care of it after it starts on fire.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, tell us about these slides now. We've got the first slide out.
Well, this is a PowerPoint presentation that I bring to different venues. One we had at the college where we had what I call a narrative walk. And the other, which occurred in October, was at the Carson City Public Library. These slides are meant to demonstrate how the Waterfall Trail sites can be used. We've essentially, as an outreach effort, with this grant, established an outdoor classroom, particularly for schools, service groups, agencies, that outline the rehabilitation efforts and the protocols set by Dr. J.R. Known for the studying of this particular wildfire. And it's opportunistic that it's right by the observatory where there's a weather station. And so the historic data or current weather data, including soil, moisture, and temperatures, can be monitored. We were able to do a plant listing. We were able to also include in that a botanist. And the botanist, Arnold Team, is known quite well in the area. He was able to identify a lot of the plants, some that were planted in the seed mix for rehabilitation, some of the grasses. We did surveys of the 2 meter by 2 meter plots, once in April, another time in May, and another time in July, so that we could see the progression of the season through spring to summer and the different plants that did come back up. We then took advantage of some Google Map aerial photos. This particular one was taken just a few years ago, so you can even see the baseball field out there.
Is this on our website, Mike?
This isn't on our website. It can be accessed by just trying to, in Google Maps, put in WNC and then see where it lands. What we did is identify, though, the plots that are along the Waterfall Fire Trail and the Lakeview Park area. And then borrowing on the Bear Report, this is a nice copy of a slide that showed that nearly 9,000 acre fire.
So the red, clearly that bright fuchsia red shows all the burned area?
Yes, it does. And it also shows typically why this is considered, I believe I'm right about this, the wild land urban interface and the issues that are involved there.
Almost up to the lake.
Almost up to the lake. Mm-hmm. So what we're thinking is that down the road, in years to come, these plots are well established along the planetary walkway. Groups would meet at our observatory, have a short PowerPoint presentation, and then find their way from the observatory down the planetary walkway and the current bike path, which goes down to Wellington State. That's 6 of the 8 sites there. And each of those sites are supported by a website, which has data, including the plant listing, including to the extent that the areas are defined as unburned shrub, burned shrub, rehabilitated by drill seeding, whatever the rehabilitation efforts. We hope that school teachers particularly will want to bring students out there in field trips and give them an opportunity to make measurements. That might be soil temperatures, that might be the height of plants, that might be counting how much cheatgrass has infested an area, maybe looking for other aspects. We know that the school teachers, grandparents, Cub Scout, Girl Scout leaders might find it quite helpful. Maybe they might even take samples of the pine cones in the forest areas or plants and find that they've learned something not only about wildfires, but just about our environment and what the rehabilitation efforts are all about.
And so this research, how is it going to be used or replicated? I mean, does this is this significant for future studies? Or?
Yes. We think that each spring, and so we're looking maybe in March, that whether the sheep are grazing on the plots and we're studying the effects of the sheep on lowering fuel load, whether we're looking at mechanical ways of lowering fuel load, whether we're looking at students just learning about the plant diversity, fire ecology, we think that we've set up as an outreach effort the Waterfall Fire Interpretive Trail. And beyond me or anybody else, year after year, those plots will be out there and defined in a form that allows them to study at any age the effects of fire and rehabilitation on the environment. So rehabilitation efforts, which are very visual, is the drill seeding efforts close to the Wellington Estates. That particular plot is very dense with wheat grasses that were replanted there, and I'm suspecting for Soil Conservation Service points of view would certainly be holding on to the soil and actually keeping other events, perhaps introduction of cheatgrass, from trying to infest that same area.
Wow. And so, Ann, you were saying it is a unique project?
Mike's research is a unique project in Nevada. There are a lot of research and science around the state, but where his is different, it actually engages the community and invites them and participate in the education program.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. I think it's a great project. I'm going to have to go up there and walk that interpretive trail myself. And really, you hear about cheatgrass, but you don't realize how dangerous it can be. Huh, Chief Giomi? I mean, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. It can. And you know, and what I'd like to compliment them both on what they're doing. I think from an educational perspective, it's great to get elementary school children educated about us living in a fire environment, and this is a great way to do that. To your point of cheatgrass, it's the crack cocaine of the fire service. I mean, it's the bane of our existence, really. If we could prevent the conversion of land from natural vegetation to cheatgrass, that would solve a lot of our fire problems.
Right. I live in an urban-rural interface, and I've got quite a bit of area cleared out, but a lot of cheatgrass, and I'm thinking, my gosh, how do you get rid of it? This will help towards that, correct? This research.
Or at least understanding what practices perhaps work better than others.
Right. Great study, great program. Really, Mike and Ann, you are to be commended. It's exciting to see this come out of the college, and just another reminder to the community that there's a lot happening at Western Nevada College, probably more than you think. I think so. And Stacey, nice to have you here. Nice seeing you as always. And Professor Sady, if you want to take a class from Mike, get on that website. He teaches chemistry and science here on the Carson campus and at Douglas, correct?
Right.
And then Ann, how do they get a hold of you?
In the Carson City Parks and Recreation Department.
What's your phone number?
887-2262.
Great. Well, thank you so much for watching this edition of Campus Chat. We'll see you next month.
This has been Campus Chat, a monthly program from Western Nevada College. Campus Chat is made possible by the Western Nevada College Foundation.